At the time when you started, was crack already around?
They were smoking crack, but everybody cooked their own crack.
Okay.
It was, and they would still eat the basin too. They were still eat the basin. You know, they have all the stuff on the table, the ether, and you know, it was a big, heavy process that they were doing at that time.
You know, I mean, this part is kind of hazy, but who actually created the recipe for crack?
I don't know.
No
I
idea.
didn't. I know people come to me all the time and say, "Oh, you invented crack." No, I didn't invent crack.
People say it came from the Bay.
They say it came from the Bay. I heard that as well.
UCLA? That's what they say?
I don't know. I know who taught me how to cook it. You know, I saw a lot of other people cook it before he actually taught me. But Stefan, one of my little homies, Stefan, rest in peace. He's the one who taught me how to cook it.
Okay.
But they were already doing it when I started, when I learned how to cook it.
Okay. You know, and then when you hit the ground running, you became essentially one of the biggest drug dealers in America?
I don't know. Who keeps stats, you know?
Exactly. But you were, you know,
The prosecutors
you got to a massive scale.
Yeah, the prosecutors say I was a major player in the game, and it was during the early times too when the weight wasn't as high, you know. At that time, you know, 100 keys was a lot of cocaine, you know. When I started in the 70s, 3 grams was a lot of cocaine to me, you know. But now, you know, I was in jail with people who had 20 tons of cocaine, you know. So it's just a matter of who you're talking to, and maybe he had 20 kilos at one time, and maybe over my career I sold, you know, 20 tons of cocaine. I don't know, you know. I didn't really keep stats, and I basically just did it like I did tennis. I was trying to be the best that I could be.
Well, you said that your only goal in life was to get as rich as you could, as fast as you could, so you can get out the game.
Yeah, I got that from Superfly. When I watched,
okay, I remember that. Yeah.
Yeah, I watched the movie Superfly, and when he got out the game, you know, I said that I would like to go out just like he did, you know, and that was always my plan, was to build myself up into a position to where I could walk away.
Was there ever a point where you actually said, I have enough money, I'm going to go to this one country that doesn't have a U.S. extradition policy and just sit on an island and drink margaritas and leave all this crazy shit behind me?
But it's hard to tell a young black man that who's been nowhere. Nobody's really taught him much.
Okay.
He thinks,
but you're pretty smart.
He thinks that a car that goes up and down is the greatest invention that it was ever invented.
Right, but you didn't think that when you were at the height of your drug career. I mean, you were sitting.
Oh no, I totally switched. I mean, I learned a lesson from that lowrider. See, I sit back and I looked. I said, man, you know, with that chop shop, you made $500-600 every day, which was great money at that time, and you have nothing to show for it. So what I did, I took my lowrider to the junkyard, and they got this big crusher that crushes them. I wish I would have saved the car now, because it was a convertible. The car probably worth about $50,000 right now, right?
So, but symbolically, that's what you wanted to do.
I wanted to crush that mentality.
By crushing your actual lowrider.
Yeah, you know, the paint up under the bottom. I had candy paint under the bottom, all the chrome.
Okay.
The rear end was chromed, you know, and I'm like, you've been doing every night. You go out stealing every night. You work all day stealing to put this car together, and that's all you got.
Yeah.
So when I went into the drug business, I said, no, I ain't gonna sell dope for no car.
Right. I mean, at one point, I mean, I don't know if you can answer this question or not, but, you know, because when you're doing that, you have a lot of money on the street. You have people that owe you. You have products. You have product coming in. You have this. You have that. What was the most amount of cash that you actually had where you could say, okay, I could take this bag and just leave?
Well, really, when I started, I only wanted to make $5,000.
Okay.
I wanted to get the wheels for my car. That was our plan. We would get some Zeniths for our car, which cost like $3,200.
Yeah, the Zenith wire wheels.
Yep. I was gonna finish paying Mike for painting it, and get my interior out. And it's crazy that all of these things that I'm telling you that I was gonna do, all of those had connections to the drug business, right? Mm-hmm. All of those were things that eventually played a part inside of the drug business. So technically, you know, I could have walked away at 5,000. But what happens is once you become exposed and once your mind is started to open and started to see things, you know, my mom put me out, right? My mom put me out the house when she found out that I was selling drugs. Mm-hmm. So I come home and she's counting my money. I had like $100,000. I never counted it. You know, I just been like re-upping, throw it in the shoebox. We had overcome the shoebox, so now I become a pile of dirty clothes, had become our safe. So we just piling everything in, and me and Al were partners at that time. You never met Al, but and most people don't even remember him, but me and him were like this. You know, he was my partner when we stole cars, and we became partners in the cocaine business. But one time I had 3.2 million. I had the motel, I had tire shop, body shop, junkyard, apartment buildings, houses.
3.2 million. This is the 80s.
Yeah.
So this is the equivalent of maybe 6-7 million today.
Probably like 84ish.
Yeah, $6-8 million today. An amount that you could retire off of.
Yep.
And still live a pretty nice lifestyle. You know, literally live the rest out. You know, the rest.
Well,
of
the
your
way I
days.
lived though, I probably would have been living like a king, because I had tow trucks. I mean, I had race cars, fast bikes.
But there was never any serious thought about saying, I'm going to take all this money and go retire somewhere.
At that time, I'd never been scathed by the police.
Well, what I want to say is, for example, there was an interview that we have on our YouTube channel. I didn't do the interview personally. My friend Cavario did it, but he interviewed Big Meech from BMF. Meech had somewhat of a similar story, and he asked him flat out, why didn't you just take the money and just go somewhere where there's no U.S. extradition?
If I was for self, I could have did that. I could have grabbed me a bunch of millions and been on somewhere where you can't be extradited. But that wasn't what I was out for. I've already played the illegal game to the fullest, so now I was trying to legitimize me and the whole family. I mean, I was 37 years old when I got picked up, so I was slowing down anyway, because I was getting kind of tired. But when you the face of the family, that's the one thing that I was starting to learn. Even at 37 years old, even though I'm feeling old because I've been doing it so long, like I was getting kind of tired. You know me, I'm popping pills, smoking weed, drinking, and partying, freaking, getting money, got whips going up and down the road. You know, I'm doing everything to try to make this family successful, and everything we do look big. Everything we do gotta look big. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and I understand that too. Yeah, what your family do, and not just your immediate family, because
family, your crew,
but your crew, everybody, they do keep you into the game, because they start to depend on you. Yeah. But I still could have did it. I still could have did it. What my problem is that I had never been scathed by the police. You know, the police had never raided my house.
But you were facing 21 years before, so.
But that was for GTA.
Still.
Now, drugs, I felt, and at this time was before the feds had came in. So it was one time that you was being taught that the only way you could be arrested for drugs was if they caught the drugs on you. You know, this was before we knew about the conspiracy charges.
The RICO Act.
And the RICO Act
Yeah.
and all that stuff. But all that boils around conspiracy.
Right, because for example, we were just talking about Big Meech. They didn't catch him with anything.
Right.
It was all RICO. It was all people.
Conspiracy. No, conspiracy is the glue.
Yeah.
The RICO is just a statute.
Right, but yeah, it was all conspiracy. It was
Yeah,
all other
conspiracy
people
is-
saying he did it, and and then
Right,
he
that's the
ultimately
conspiracy.
he ultimately pleaded out to.
Correct. That's the conspiracy, though.
Yeah.
The conspiracy is that, for instance, when I go to court, the judge is going to tell the jury, or the prosecutor is going to tell the jury, well, we're never going to catch him with drugs. It's not going to happen. We're not going to catch him with money, because he always tells other people to carry the drugs and to carry the money.
Yeah.
So in order to tie you to the drugs, they have to tie you to the conspiracy,
Right.
saying that you and this person had a meeting of the minds. And you can have a meeting of the minds and do very little and get the conspiracy.
Yeah, I mean, for example, I interviewed Biggs from Rockefeller. He was the co-founder, along with Jay-Z and Dame Dash.
Okay.
And he went to jail for some sort of marijuana growing charge, which to me was mind-blowing, because it's like, this guy's a multimillionaire. He's the co-founder of Rockefeller and Rockaware and Armadale Vodka and everything. So I interviewed him, and I asked him, I said, what was that about? And he told me flat out. He said,
so what happened was it was a conspiracy, because I connected somebody from New York to a farmer in California. I was actually buying dispensaries, and I was looking to purchase some of these farmers' houses as well to sell to the dispensaries, thinking I'm building a vertical business. But in that time, it takes 3, 6, or 9 months to get up and running. So a friend of mine asked me to connect them with somebody, and because they connected, even though they didn't do a deal, they spoke about it on the phone. That's a conspiracy, and I conspired because I connected them.
Aiding and abetting.
yeah, and
That's all it
he
is.
did a few years over that.
If you give me your car, knowing that I'm going to do a drug deal, you got the conspiracy.
Wow.
They can tie you to whatever crime I commit. If I go out and kill somebody, you can get the murder.
Yeah.
If you knew that that's what I was going to use your car for,
Right.
because that's the meeting of the minds.
Right. And if there's 4 people that said that Vlad knew why he was giving Ricky the car, then now.
Right.
It's
Or
a
if the
wrap.
jury just believed me.
Yeah.
They don't need 4 people. If the jury just believe me over you, or if you don't testify and they just believe my testimony,
Yeah.
then they can find you guilty.
It's ugly.
The feds is wicked.